Running on Air by eleventy7. Chapter 5. Ginny dresses up for the date and Harry thinks she looks beautiful, even if her practice ran overtime and she arrived half an hour late. He orders an oak-aged rum. Ginny opts for a glass of Riesling.
"You look amazing,"
Harry says, and Ginny smiles.
"Thanks,"
she says.
"Practice ran overtime. The scout left after Saturday's game without a word, which was a little disappointing. Maybe next match, though. Pearson's been scouted before. Oh, and thank you,"
Ginny says as the waiter places a glass of wine on the table. He accepts his glass with a nod and takes an appreciative sip.
"Anyway, the wind conditions weren't good on Saturday's match, and—"
Harry listens to Ginny speak. He's always liked her passion for things, he thinks. It's one of the first things he loved about her. When they were in the midst of the war and she was so full of fiery energy, her eyes bright and her hands steady as she lifted her wand. She never looked as beautiful as she did during the battle, he thinks, with her dirt-smudged face and torn robes, when her strength and spirit shone brighter than ever. He wonders if he'll ever see that level of passion again.
"Let's not talk about work tonight,"
Harry says suddenly, interrupting Ginny's description of Saturday's match.
"Let's talk about other things." "Oh."
Ginny pauses and looks about the restaurant as if searching for a conversation topic.
"It's interesting, isn't it? A Muggle restaurant. I was about to tap my wand on the menu items to order them. Nearly forgot." "The view's nice." "Isn't it? I wish we'd been able to afford an apartment in central London." "I'm sorry, I know you always wanted—" "Oh, that wasn't criticism,"
Ginny says quickly.
"I was just saying, that's all. I don't think the minister himself could afford those apartments. But if I make the English national team, who knows? At our next game it might be—" "Oh, I'm talking about work again."
She laughs. But soon enough, her laugh dwindles into silence, and Harry, thinking of several things to say but dismissing them all as work-related, desperately grabs at the first alternate topic that pops into his head.
"Do you remember the battle?"
Ginny tenses.
"It's a little hard to forget, Harry. Still, you were brilliant." "I remember Fred's funeral,"
Ginny says distantly, evidently not hearing him.
"George still can't produce a Patronus, Mom says, and she doesn't think he will ever again."
Harry stares down at his glass of rum, then takes a long drink of it. The waiter appears beside the table, and Harry is almost relieved to see him.
"I'll have the Cornish lamb and another glass of Appleton Estate," he says quickly.
Ginny orders the roasted monkfish and a refill too. The waiter disappears again, taking the menus with him.
"We'll be finishing the Barrow preliminary soon,"
Ginny says, breaking the silence. Harry doesn't point out that it's work-related. He listens as she speaks of the upcoming season. He guesses at how the season will finish, and a light criticism of the performance of a favourite team, the Kenmare Kestrels.
"I know, it's rather disloyal. I should have an English team, really, but the techniques the Seeker use are brilliant and very daring. The Chasers are working on this new formation too, and I wouldn't mind practicing it. I should bring it up to Gwen."
Harry leans back slightly as the waiter places another glass of rum in front of him, waiting until he's gone away before lifting the glass and taking a long sip. They receive a reprieve when their meals arrive, at least, and can occupy themselves with eating. Ginny orders another glass of wine, and Harry tries a 12-year whiskey, then follows it with Scottish single malt. The waiter probably considers him an alcoholic, Harry thinks, and by the end of the meal he's delightfully fuzzy-headed and only half listening to Ginny's Quidditch strategies. Having had too much to drink to trust his disapparating skills, Harry flags a passing taxi to take him and Ginny home. Ginny seems to enjoy the trip, finding it rather amusing when Harry has to run to the apartment and frantically search for his cache of Muggle money to pay the driver.
"That was nice,"
Ginny says afterwards when they're both preparing for bed.
"Did you enjoy it, Harry?"
"Did you hear me, Draco? I'm asking if you're happy."
"Yeah,"
Harry says, staring at the wall opposite. There's nothing on it, only whiteness. A blank canvas.
"Good."
Ginny says, slipping beneath the covers and turning off her lamp. Harry sleeps restless that night. Perhaps it's the driving lessons, but a week later Harry finds himself dreaming of a car. Draco's car. The memory, he thinks. Dreaming of the memories again. He's sitting in the back with Astoria in the passenger seat and Draco driving. They're beside the river, nighttime, and Harry wants to wind down the window and breathe in the sky, the stars, the water, the land with the endless road rolling across it like a tar-streaked ribbon. "You don't know what you want, Draco," Astoria's saying. Draco's eyes flick up to the rear vision mirror, meeting Harry's gaze. "No, I don't," he says. There's a lull in silence, and Harry realizes Astoria's fallen asleep. The memory should have ended. He glances away from her, then looks up and freezes. Draco's eyes, reflected in the rear vision mirror, are locked on his. Draco speaks. "We could go anywhere." "He's not talking to you, he's talking to Astoria. He's not looking at you, he's looking through you." "Anywhere?" Harry repeats, just to make sure that Draco can't hear him. Draco smiles lightly, his gaze returning to the road ahead. "Anywhere?" Harry's heart quickens. "Let's go to where you are." "Why?" "I don't know where you are," Harry says, his mouth dry. "I'm trying to find you." "That's strange," Draco says, "because I am looking for you." This is important somehow. Like a fading voice, like a closing door, like the lights of a train fading into the distance. Like a circle. Harry murmurs. Draco looks at him again. "Now you're getting it, Potter," he says. When Harry wakes up, there is a rectangle of plastic in his hand. Draco's license. Harry gets his provisional license on the 31st of October. He flees to Astoria's house, having officially been linked into her flu network, and shows Matthew. "That photo looks terrible," he observes, and Matthew laughs. "Rite of passage. Everyone's first license looks awful. At least you can legally drive now," he adds. Harry's graduated from the driveway to actual roads, as the country lanes surrounding Astoria's home are generally bereft of traffic. "I could try one of the main roads," Harry says excitedly. "Don't get ahead of yourself, mate. You still can't focus on using the indicator without taking your foot off the accelerator." "Multitasking is very difficult when you're going 60 miles an hour," Harry retorts. "Yeah, and it'll be worse when you get in an accident because you spent 15 minutes carefully hunting for the indicator switch." Nevertheless, when they begin the driving lesson, Matthew lets Harry try the main road, and as Harry hits a long stretch of straight road and needs no assistance, Matthew asks about Draco. "Found much, Ed?" "Nothing. Everything seems to go in circles." "Well, best of luck. I mean, it's been 3 years anyways, and watch out, you're coasting to the left a little. Let's face it, not much of a chance of finding new clues." "Well, I'm hoping to find something. Speaking of finding things, you wouldn't happen to know of a good mechanic, would you?" "I know a few in Exeter. I'll look up their details when I get home. Now turn left at this intersection. I feel like you're ready to brave the motorway." I really hope you're joking." Matthew grins. Harry arrives home at 11 o'clock that night, smiling and thinking how he'll share the news with Ginny. He can legally drive. He's got a car license, provisional of course, but by the end of the year he might even have a full license. It seems important somehow, a milestone. Ginny hasn't even noticed his driving lessons end. He steps into the bedroom and his smile fades a little. Ginny's not there, although there is a note on her pillow. He picks it up.
"Sorry, forgot to say this morning. Got a 2-day strategy workshop in Leeds. Be back on Thursday. Love you, see you soon."
Harry stares at the note for a second, then sets it aside. He stands for a long moment thinking, then slowly turns to the 2 boxes stacked next to his bedside table and removes the disillusionment charm. He may as well work then. 2 hours later, Harry's sitting in the middle of the bed, the objects scattered around him like autumn leaves. A prefect's badge catches the lamplight and shines brightly. An origami rose lays upon the cushion. Harry, long ago forgetting the purpose of the task and becoming absorbed in tiny details, finds himself poring over the Hogwarts textbooks. Draco wrote in them, little notes scribbled in the margins, from the very first standard book of spells, grade 1 to advanced potion making. It's strange. Harry had always assumed Draco to be irritatingly arrogant and unbearably smug about classwork, but the first-year textbooks revealed pages and pages of notes painstakingly written in the childish hand of an 11-year-old. Draco had recorded every step and, it seems to Harry, had been fearful of misfiring a spell or using incorrect technique. It's strange seeing how Draco's handwriting changes over the years. The carefully rounded letters soon give way to a lopsided look, and towards 6th year the writing develops into a strong and graceful script. There's little asides dotted throughout the pages. Merlin's beard, this is boring. Draco has written in a herbology textbook, abruptly cutting off his extensive notes about a 7-teethed tulip. Even more surprising is the frank admission in advanced potion making. On a page about the uses of beetle eggs, Draco has written, "I don't even care about this subject anymore." Strange that Draco would write such thoughts in his textbooks, but Harry realizes, who else could he have confided in? Towards the end of their time in Hogwarts, it became clear Draco didn't trust even his closest friends. And certainly he couldn't confide in his parents, both of whom were equally troubled as him. They must have been lonely. And Harry knows that loneliness well. Harry turns the pages of standard books of spells, grade 6. Every now and again there's an elaborate Celtic knot, but Harry doesn't assign that any meaning. It seems Draco was fond of simply practicing the patterns during especially boring classes. There's a few notes here and there written neatly in the margins. "The spell didn't work when attempted to cast on self," Draco's written on one page. Harry frowns and reads the title of the spell. Tranquillo Charm, apparently used to calm people and lessen fear or anxiety. Shuts the book and stares down at the cover for a long time. There's no 7th year books. Draco hadn't returned to Hogwarts after the war to complete his schooling then. Harry leans across the bed and pulls Draco's notebook towards him. It's a 2003 calendar and diary, filled with neatly written but mundane dates. Weekly withdrawals from Gringotts scheduled in like clockwork, a reminder to renew his car registration. The final note was written on the day Draco disappeared. "Visit family solicitor, 4:30 p.m. No doubt the errand Draco had planned to complete after purchasing the owl. Nevertheless, it might be worth asking the solicitor about the purpose of Draco's visit, if the solicitor can recall it. Harry flips through the rest of the notebook, but the pages beyond September 9 are all blank, and his name. He stares at the page. November 21st. A date apparently selected at random. "Potter, I believe you have property which is rightfully mine." The words are quickly crossed out. A draft of a letter, Harry realizes, but just beneath it, Draco attempts a second approach. "Dear Potter, I believe you are currently in possession of a hawthorn wand, unicorn hair core." Crossed out again. A third attempt, a fourth. The 5th attempt demonstrates a degree of annoyance and begins with a willful scrawl. "Potter, give me back my wand. It's not like you're using it anyway. You probably don't even bother with wands anymore. Frankly, I'm waiting for you to ascend the 9th plane and become an anthropomorphic mass of pure energy. Next headline in the Daily Prophet, Saviour Potter now classified as new planet. Harry can't help but grin. It's quite funny, really. Adding to the amusement is a small drawing Draco did, presumably of Planet Harry. He's drawn a Saturn-esque planet wearing a pair of spectacles. Harry laughs and turns the page, half hoping to find another amusing drawing, but instead finds more writing. The letter continues, apparently. Do you remember when we were 11? Let's go back to that. The words roll across Harry's mind like waves breaking. He blinks, his smile fading, and begins reading again. Do you remember when we were 11? Let's go back to that. I'll throw remembers into the sky and you can try to catch them. Sometimes I think you can just keep my wand. I think of all the dark spells I performed, all the unforgivables I tried to cast with it. But then I remember when I was 11 years old, learning lumos and casting mending charms, and it's hard to let go of that. So give me my wand, or give me a time-turner. Harry has no doubt that Draco, in a peak of frustration after trying to pen a suitable formal letter, wrote this particular message with the intention that it would never be read by anyone ever, let alone Harry himself. There's a strange honesty and directness in the letter, and Harry finds it difficult to imagine Draco, with his cold expressions and inability to express himself beyond childish insults, wrote it. Then he remembers Draco wearing precisely the sort of cold expression Harry is imagining as he told Astoria to go deliver her father's eulogy. Yes, Draco hides his thoughts and feelings well, cloaking them beneath apathy and arrogance. Do you remember when we were 11? Let's go back to that. Harry's heart suddenly aches for all of them. Hermione and Ron so unknowing of what lay ahead. Neville, who would one day be tortured by Death Eaters, and yes, even Draco, who had clearly dreamed of a different future. This is still Malfoy, he reminds himself, but Malfoy, sneering, self-indulgent Malfoy, is hard to remember, as if the years have sifted away like fine sand, and now all he knows is Draco, who always looks serious and sad, who wears a silver snitch clasp because in incepto finis est, who tries to fix himself by writing letters he'll never send, who drives everywhere looking for something. Looking for himself, or maybe a memory. Maybe after all this time, he's just looking for a state of mind. Harry picks up the possessions one by one. The origami rose, which looks old and tattered and makes him wonder why Draco kept it. The textbooks, with 6 years' worth of notes and drawings. The school tie. The prefect bench. Had Draco been proud of being a prefect? Or had he come to view the badge as he did his wand, as a bittersweet memory, a reminder of what he'd done and what he could have been? That night, he dreams. To be continued.